yesterday's.
Bastante lluvia, non ho dimenticato così.
But no one had enough time to pour it out.
Esatto. No worries, please.
Sì o no?
Thank you.
There you go. Okay, let's go. All right. Yeah. Che pena.
Estarán esperando de carro, mira. Mucho con la ya, un cachito será la espera, se haga ochadito. Claro, venir van a venir, ¿no? Porque quieren visitar, se han dicho.
Bueno, pero no he dicho nada. Probablemente sí.
Está viniendo, mira, un bus ahí. Okay, over here, please, George. Mamá.
No le están dejando pasar con su mochila grande.
¿Sí?
Sí, que lo dejo pagar ahí.
Ella se mira, please, George. Gracias, mamá.
Oh,
C'è qualcosa che non va, Luca? È troppo grande. Oh, davvero, mamma mia. Mi dispiace.
Lascio qua.
Ah,
it's okay. Don't be sorry.
mi dispiace, Luca.
If anything, it'll save his back. It's a lot.
Not a good couple to have in the team.
No.
Your name is?
George.
George, okay.
And yours?
Simonetta.
Simonetta? Simonetta.
Voilà. Benissimo. Grazie. Sei bravo.
Cioè mi passi da così a così. Compreso il portafoglio, tira fuori almeno il portafoglio e il passaporto.
No,
Yeah.
Hai un po' di soldi?
Sì.
Ce l'hai?
Sì, no,
Yeah.
Luca.
$1 puoi vedere, no?
Grazie.
Va bene?
Benissimo, l'hai fatto bene.
Grazie Giorgio. Sorry,
It's gonna be easier for you to walk.
Much easy.
Oops.
Adesso ti porto il tuo.
La pioggia. È proprio per il gin tonic.
Ooh.
Et alors, pour côté, le peuple. De toute façon, le peuple s'est divisé en deux.
Okay, welcome to Machu Picchu, and I didn't tell you before, but sometimes I work as a paparazzi. May I can take a picture, only you have to tell me, give me your camera, may I can take a picture, and I will give you information. Who want to get first? Maybe you, George?
Sure.
You should get here on the corner.
Here?
Yeah,
Or down there?
the other side. Excellent, wow. 3, 2, 1. Just in case another one. And the last one. 3, 2, 1. Got it, George.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Carlos, grazie. Fai tu.
Grazie a te.
Ci vuole,
Grazie a
ci
te.
vuole, ci vuole.
Perché no? Ah, bellissimo.
Grazie.
1, 2, 3.
Sì.
Un attimino, ancora l'altro. E l'ultimo. 1, 2, 3. Abbiamo fatto.
Grazie.
Prego. Okay, now, meanwhile you enjoy the scenery, let me talk about this place. I'm a lucky guy. I was born in Cusco. Of course, I grew up in Cusco and I will die in Cusco. You make me feel really happy. You come from Europe, from the United States to visit my home. I'm really proud. Why I'm talking about that I was born in Cusco because I speak Quechua. It's my native language. It was the official language before the Spanish conquistadors arrived. When I'm talking about when the Spanish arrived in Peru and South America, I'm talking about 1532. And Quechua was the official language. I'm going to spell it Quechua. Q-U-E-C-H-U-A. Why I'm talking about Quechua? Because the name of this place, it's not Spanish. It's a Quechua name. Machu Picchu. Machu means old and Picchu is mountain. Old mountain. From time to time, I'm going to use some catch expressions, then I'm going to translate. Okay? What about this fantastic place? According to scholars and researchers, the construction of this place started at the beginning of 15th century. And they spent at least 100 years to build the entire construction. At least. They couldn't conclude the construction, and there are two interpretations. The first one, before the Spanish arrived, they were fighting with each other, two brothers, Huáscar and Atahualpa, by the power. It was a civil war, and they couldn't conclude, and they left some rocks that soon I'm going to show you. Otherwise, another interpretation, they couldn't finish the construction because it's the year when arrived the Spanish, and we imported the new diseases from Europe. Smallpox, Black Death, that was terrible for the Andean society. And they presume that the people they moved from, soon it's going to disappear, this foggy or it's cloudy now. Why it's cloudy? Because in the background is the Amazon, it's the jungle. Keep in mind that if we want to split now the Peruvian territory, 60% represent the Amazon. Huge area. We have the border between Peru and Brazil, Peru and Colombia, Peru and Ecuador. Huge area. 60% represent the Amazon, that's nearby. 30% we are in the middle of the Andes, this is the Andes, and 10% the coast. And they presume it's really wet. It can rain at any time of this humidity. And at the same time, I had being a reclamation. I told you, before we arrived with the expedition, the local people came here and they destroyed the mummies. Also, maybe soon I'm going to show you there is an animal I'm looking for. Maybe soon I'm going to show you. In English, they said we can call Peruvian chinchilla. It's like a bunny, a rabbit. Soon I'm going to show you, but it's a rodent and they destroy the mummies. At the same time, we have fox here. Fox
To eat the chinchillas.
Yeah. And that's the reason why the mummies are hidden being found over there were in bad condition. Except, as I show you the big rock, big stone, 5 mummies well preserved. Well preserved. But maybe soon I'm going to show you in this area the chinchillas, or maybe in the other side, no problem. Over here. Take care, it's a big step here. Take your time.
Perfect. Oh wow. This is a 2-story house.
Exactly. Upstairs they use it as a second floor.
Mm-hmm.
Very ingenious and smart. You know we are. Still you see they are doing the restoration, but it's important detail that I would like to show you. First, look at the holes on the wall. Here they combine the windows. The windows to illuminate the interior of the room. But what about this? According to scholars and evidence they found, also Hiram Bingham and some researchers, here they left the ritual cups, the idols, the figurines. That's the reason, it's my point of view. You should visit the Incas Museum in Cusco. In Lima also, I told you the Largo Herrera Museum, and you will understand. Because currently, I have to show you only the storage houses, the aqueducts, the terraces. But what about in the background? They got some mugs, pots, ceramics, necklaces, earrings, etc., etc. But anyway, also another important detail. If I want to use this house with a second floor upstairs, quite easy. I should cover with some tree trunks. Why they build like this? There are 10 constructions with the same characteristic like this. It's a neighborhood for the storage of the houses. I mean, they left above coca leaves, alpaca wool, llama wool, vicuña wool. I don't know, I think I was a lucky guy. I was in Italy a long time ago, also in the United States. Also you grow potatoes. But you should visit the main food market. Currently in Peru we consume a lot. It's the white potato, it's the dry or dehydrated potato. The idea is to take out the water of the potato, we call moraya. when we process that dry potato, we can keep, well, normally in Italy, in the United States and Peru, we can keep the potatoes 4 or 5 months maximum. But what about the dry or dehydrated potatoes? We can keep 1 month, 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. If we want to try it again, we boil it and we try. And they left here with the alpaca wool, with the cockroach. Why? It's a relationship with El Niño, because El Niño was a seco, and they understood. If we will have problems with El Niño, we will come here because it was used as a storehouse. And because similar as in Egypt, Egyptians, they were thinking about they built some storage, the same idea here. But again, we want to do the replica recreation, only we have to cover with some tree trunks, the same that they are doing currently surrounding here and in the Amazon. Sorry, George.
What do they do about, in Egypt, they didn't have this problem with grain storage because there wasn't a lot of arid moisture in the air.
Yeah.
But here there's so much moisture in the air. What do they do about, because yes, grains and dried things last a long time, but the most important problem is they get mold, they get funguses that cause problems, mental health issues, death, and other things.
In some cases, they use it here some ceramics, and they cover they got it at the bottom, dry potatoes or coca leaves, and on the top they cover some natural some medicinal herbs, some aromatic herbs that they use it to get out the insects, the parasites.
Gotcha.
Currently they are doing the same.
Okay.
It's smart and clever.
Okay.
Because
Yeah, because I know there aren't a lot of, I don't know if there's any salt
Exactly.
deposits around here,
No,
so
no,
there's nothing to
that's
preserve.
Exactly. Nothing
Okay.
to preserve. Over here, please.
They were short.
And how you love the nature as me. In the Santa Rosa Hotel, it's a nice flower. Nice white one. It's the ancient trumpet flower or trumpet tree. It's orange color. And usually you will see orange, red, and white color. But trumpet flower or trumpet tree that we exported a lot to the United States and Europe also. But it's indigenous from this place. Over here, please, over here. Un favore, amici, speriamo di fare la Come closer. That's the animal that I was talking about.
Oh!
In the rock. It looks like a bunny.
Like a large fat squirrel.
That's right. It looks like a squirrel with long tail. I don't know, it's the siesta time or hangover.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of chinchillas on the rock. And it's the animal who I told you that they also rodents. They destroy the mummies. And interesting, and let me talk about. When I do the tour in Machu Picchu, inside the cathedral. Inside the cathedral, my colleagues will show you a lot of oil canvases that were made in 16th, 17th, and 18th century. In halfway, close the sacristy room, is a very interesting painting. It was made at the end of 18th century.
The artist was born as me in Cusco. His name is Marco Zapata, and he represents the Last Supper. The Last Supper, the original, is the place where they come from in Milan. It's the Last Supper that was made by Leonardo da Vinci. But it's very interesting because my colleague will show you the Last Supper in Cusco, that was made by local artists, and in the middle of the table, as a main course, 50% of this color they said is the guinea pig, and the other 50% of this color they said that is that animal. And we have to tell you, we apologize because we know that sometimes are pets for you, but you have to understand this part of our culture. Hiram Bingham found 2 mummies and they buried that animal because they believed in the life after death. They represent food. That's really interesting to talk about that animal. Over here.
Edison, Edison.
Come un oliante al campo.
Anche non ci sono sculture.
Non lo so. Magari, perché oliante al campo che hanno costruito si chiama la colla. Non hanno fatto io non so perché non l'hanno fatto. Io non lo so. Tutto benissimo.
Good to see some.
Alto todavía el
Muy alto.
See, it's part of the drainage system in the water system. From the upper part, there are some mountains. Archaeological and Anthropological Museum, and in Cusco we have, in my opinion, the best one is the Incas Museum. Why I'm talking about the museums in Cusco and Lima? If you are going to visit the museums that I told you, you will see some mummies that were found in different archaeological places. Some of the mummies were found in fetal position because they believed in the life after death. And the relationship with this bamboo is some mummies were found with as musical instruments the bamboo, as pump pipes, as flutes. I mean, I told you, they use when they build their homes, for the thatched roof, for the basket, for everything as musical instruments. And here it grows everywhere. And look at over there. There is a nice tiny orchid.
Yeah, I saw that.
Pink
Beautiful.
and white.
Ah, sí, guarda.
Epidendrum. Epidendrum, we have here Masdevallias, Peruratalis, because how it's lower land and Cusco is close to the Amazon, the weather is excellent here for begonias, fuchsias, and also the tiny orchid. Very nice. Also soon I'm going to show you more. And another important thing here, look at here, on the branch, the bromelias. Bromelias or epiphytes, that some of them are blooming. I'm going to show you a lot also. Also we have fern. Over here, please. Almost there, almost there. We are really close to few points that I show you and I told you. This is the fern that I was talking about. Do you have at home, George?
Yes.
Luca? This fern. You have a Milano, questo? Fern o eleccio. Eleccio. Ho dimenticato come si chiama in italiano.
Felce.
Felce.
Quindi in spagnolo leccio?
Eleccio.
Eleccio.
Eleccio. Ah, look at this. This is another type of orchid. Look at.
I've
Very
never
nice.
seen that.
Very nice.
Ancestrale l'eleccio. Ah, questa è l'orchidea.
Questa è orchidea.
vabbè, allora.
C'è l'altro.
Domani voglio andare a vedere l'orchidea.
Bellissimo.
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 Oh, spettacolare.
Un giro nella giungla.
Also, do you have orchids at home, George?
No, not grown naturally. No.
In flower pots.
In flower pots, yes.
Ah,
and in farms, but never
Yeah,
naturally.
farm.
And
Farm.
never those. I've never seen
Aha.
those before.
That is the big advantage here. We are close to the Amazon. All right. It's the same tiny orchid as I showed you before. Look at nearby.
Much closer.
Ah, guarda questo.
Nice combination. Pink and white color. One more time.
Oof, you can see it.
Latin name is epidendrum. It's the most common orchid here. We have red, orange, white one. Every time, everywhere, I'm going to show you.
Oh wow.
Really precious orchid. Julito. You're in good hands. You're in good hands. He's the top guy. He's the top guy. For your eyes only, George. Ah, grazie mille.
Top
grazie.
guida.
Ah, grazie Luca.
Il top. Il top al top.
Luca. Grazie mille Luca.
Impressionante.
Bellissimo. Bello.
Poi in Europa abbiamo dei monumenti dove collocate ci sono.
Questa mistura
Non è impressione la pittura, ma veramente.
bellissimo. È impressionante. Stand by me, look at over there. Turn around, that is the sun gate.
Okay.
Currently you see the people there. Quite easy to recognize the sun gate. To the left side there are trees and bushes.
Yeah.
The right side there are some terraces and about some Inca walls. Currently there are some people sitting on the terraces enjoying this dinner. I don't know if you see the trail. There is a trail that goes up here. And soon I'm going to show you the trail that you should follow if you want to get to the sun gate. In and out the people are walking now. They want to visit because the weather is excellent,
Oh,
fresh, it's nice.
Your eyes are excellent.
How long?
My second name is Eagle Eye.
Eagle eye.
Eagle Eye.
Do you fly jets?
Quanto tempo ci vuole per
Più o meno 45 minuti.
da qui?
È andata e il ritorno 1 ora e mezza, più o meno. Ma piano piano, non in fretta. Bello, bellissimo. Okay, we are really close to the pole over here, please.
le porte del sole.
Oh wow.
Le cave di queste pietre, le cave,
Alpaca.
le cave dove erano sotto? Le cave per le pietre, per le stones, dove erano?
Vuol dire
Dove prendevano le pietre?
viene qui, vicino alla montagna.
Lì sotto.
According to the scholars, when these Incas arrived and they decided to build this, look at over there how they left the rocks over there, the big stones. Of course, in halfway I'm going to show you the quarry, the place. I have to talk about the tools and the techniques that they used to split the rocks, the Incas, right? But as Luca is wondering, what about the origin of the rock? Close to this, the summit of Machu Picchu, 3,100 meters or 10,000 feet, okay? But soon you will see there is another mountain, and according to the scholars, there are two interpretations. Collapsed part of the mountain, why? Because in Peru we have a serious problem, as you have in California, we have the Nazca Fault,
Yeah.
the earthquakes. And in Peru we have the Nazca Fault in the coast. And they presume the earthquakes collapsed part of the mountain. And when the Incas arrived here, they found a lot of rocks like this. And they decided to build this lodge, this temple, because they found the rock and the water. Soon I'm going to show you the aqueduct and the water is running. Or otherwise, I mentioned before, it wasn't the earthquake, maybe it was El Nino. It was raining a lot and collapsed part of the mountain. They left the rocks and the Incas used it to build this construction.
Okay.
Anyway, now look at, stay there. This is the Inca Trail and you see the people are walking in and out. Maybe tomorrow, if you want to get to the Sun Gate, only you have to come here and to follow this trail.
Oh,
You see,
okay.
it's not narrow. Solid construction, that's the reason. Look at over there. There are people enjoying. It's not hard. It looks like a ramp. I know I told you the average time from this place to get to the Sun Gate, 40-45 minutes for going. Around 1.5 hours. Okay? Another choice for you. Turn around and look at that's completely clear now, that rocky mountain. If you see class the summit, there is a little house. There are some terraces. But when we are going to be at the bottom, I'm going to show you the checkpoint. And they said only 400 people can climb over there every day. They split it in two schedules, from 7 to 8, from 10 to 11. We'll be at the bottom, but you see now, there are some terraces, and above there is a little house that in 1970s the scholars did an excavation and they found some necklaces, some earrings, some turquoise. That one, the altitude over there is 2,800 meters or 9,200 feet. What about here? It's 2,400 meters or 8,300 feet. But that one is the highest in Machu Picchu, 3,100 meters or 10,000 feet. When they climb, they don't have a space. They are not able to climb that rocky mountain. They are wondering, Carlos, we can climb that mountain? Yes, you can do it. Only you have to look at that lady with a yellow t-shirt or jacket. To the corner, there is an arrow that you have to follow. 2 minutes above, there is a checkpoint. From that checkpoint to get to this summit is a couple of hours for going. Around 3.5 hours. But especially for you, Luca and Simonetta, if you want to go tomorrow, why not? It's a nice experience. It's the most important. You should get in your Zaino some water, some Gatorade, some snack, because I'm sure that you are going to spend 3.5 hours, 4 hours, but it's a nice experience. If you will be able to be there, you will see Milano, Roma, Genova, Firenze, also you will see United States, tutto.
Possiamo andare domani?
Perché no?
Perché
Si può
no?
fare, si
Benissimo.
può fare. Okay, now for us is the highest point, and I have to tell you, congratulations, you made it. We made it. And at the same time, look at this beautiful tree. This is an indigenous tree, and look at the bromeliads I was talking about. There are a lot in the branches. Bromelias, sometimes I'm going to show you when they're blooming, beautiful pink and red flower. Excellent combination with the Spanish moss. Spanish moss at the bottom of the bamboo. And this is another indigenous tree that it looks like that the United States they call the Christmas tree.
Yeah.
Oh,
Every time, everywhere, I'm going to show you this. Right? Take pictures.
C'è una cosa dietro l'altra interessante.
Troppo bello, troppe cose. Veramente.
And another reason why, what you see now is cloudy, foggy, but nearby, soon I'm going to show you there is a huge rock. There's a huge rock, and I have to mention that rock because at the end of 1912, the beginning of 1913, Hiram Bingham and another scholar, his name was George Eaton, they did an excavation, and under the huge rock, the big stone, they found 5 mummies. 5 mummies in fetal position. Fetal position because I told you before, they believed in the life after death, right? And mainly the Incas and pre-Incas, they mummify nobility. Nobility, and that's the reason why when you are going to visit the landmarks, my colleagues will tell you, and here they found 1, 2, 3. Hiram Bingham found in total 60 mummies here in Machu Picchu, but well preserved, no more than 10. 5 that were found over there that soon I'm going to show you is a huge rock. If tomorrow you will get to the Sun Gate, you will see it's a big stone with a lot of constructions. There are some like terraces, a very nice place. Just in case, if you will go there, you will see.
The one of Arequipa was
No, it's that one, Juanita.
yeah, Juanita.
You were there?
Yes.
Congratulations. But that one was found only in 1995.
Ah, okay.
Johann Reicher, that is from Boston,
Ancora
the United
precedenti
States.
a quella lì.
Bello, nice mummy, well preserved. But the mummies that later I'm going to show you the place, were found in 1913
Okay.
when Hiram Bingham arrived with the expedition. And interesting to talk about the mummies because one of them, Hiram Bingham mentioned, in my opinion, this lady was the queen because she wore dozens of beautiful necklaces, some earrings, bracelets, and these eyes in miniature, llamas, alpacas, guinea pigs, butterflies, some snakes from gold, copper, lapis lazuli, also some seashell, some figurines, some mugs, pots, ceramics. Again, it's in that direction. Now, turn around. It's a little bit clear. We are going to visit at the bottom this construction. From time to time, we will stop, and I have to talk about the tools, the mummies, and the stuff that Hiram Bingham found with the expedition in 4 or 5 years when he arrived with the expedition. Okay? And the last detail again. Look at this fantastic Inca trail. Well preserved, 95% at least is original because once again they use it, the granite,
Granito.
the hardest rock. But pay attention, when we were in the train, me and my colleague, we show you the beginning of the Inca trail, right? And we did a summary, 4 days, 3 nights. This one is the most commercial Inca trail that we are doing now. But what about the real one? Huge. Why? Because before the Spanish arrived in South America, the Incas that were strong, smart, and warriors, they conquered a big space not only in Peru, in South America. The Incas were, and they conquered Ecuador, currently we call Ecuador. Quito, Cuenca, Guayaquil was the Incan territory. Also the bottom of Colombia, there is a place that we call San Agustin. The Incas were there. Also in Bolivia, La Paz, Cochabamba, Potosí, the Incas were there. In the northern part of Argentina, Salta, Jujuy, Mendoza, and currently is the capital of Chile, Santiago. Bigger than the Roman Empire. Or the same as the Romans, they did it in Europe, several places. The same the Incas, and this is the best example. They built the trails. They found the Inca trail, they found the aqueducts, the irrigation system. From time to time, the mummies, but the last detail, how I told you, they speak the same language today, the place that I told you, as me, Quechua, because it was the official language during Incan times. Currently in South America, there are 7 or 8 million of inhabitants who speak the same language as me, Quechua. That's the reason we are proud of our ancestors. Finally, let me tell you, I am proud of you. We made it. This is the highest point. That's the reason I told you, piece of cake. Now we will go down here.
I do have one question. So,
Yes, sir.
what is keeping? Is there limestone mixed in with the granite that's
No.
keeping it together, or is it
No.
just part of is granite that's keeping
No,
the granite together?
Granite together.
Okay.
Limestone only we have in Cusco area
Okay.
and part of the Sacred Valley.
Okay.
Here, 90% is granite,
Okay.
and maybe later I'm going to show you another rock, George,
Uh-huh.
that is serpentine.
Okay.
Serpentine, that's green or blue, softer.
There's
But
quartz.
yeah, quartz is part of, if we split the rock,
Mhm.
part of quartz, but mainly it's granite.
Yeah.
Look,
Come maestro, una domanda, ma la precisione delle pietre del tempio di Ollantaytambo,
orientale.
perché qua non c'è quella precisione che solo lì c'è nel siti Inca? Come mai?
Soon, I am going to show you.
Ah, ok.
There are
The
4 or
same,
5 places where I'm talking about
Type
how
of
they
pieces.
fit precisely
Ah, okay.
without the concrete border. Soon I'm going to show you, and I will tell you, of course. That's right. Good question, Luca. Grazie mille.
Sí, la verdad sí lo tengo. No, no está. No, es que ahora
Ya todo está bonito.
Please come closer, stand by me. In my opinion, it's important to show you one of the reasons why the Incas decided to build this fantastic construction. Look at over there, in the middle. You see there is an aqueduct. Can you see?
Uh-huh.
And the water is running. The Incas understood what it means to life. As you know, I told you, every time, everywhere I'm going to show you the irrigation system, the water system, and also the drainage system. And the quarry, one of them on the corner, and also in that direction, it's going to be the place where we will stop. And I have to talk about the techniques and the tools that the scholars they found that the Incas used to split the rocks. Another important detail, turn around, that house with thatched roof is the guard house, especially for these guys.
Quello del pittore, no?
Del guardián. El guardián is a viewpoint where usually the clients they go there and they have a
You
fantastic
can
scenery.
have a
Exactly.
look
One of the choices.
complete.
Because if you will go to the Sun Gate, it's going to be much better, of course. Just in case. Just in case. Over here, please, Michael.
È proprio bellissimo. Questa foto qua è...
One of the best shapes. Because the Sun Gate, did you see where is Sun Gate? It's in that direction. And it's higher than this place. Sun Gate, yeah, to the southeast direction. The altitude over there is 2,800 meters or 9,500 meters. Here is only 2,500 or 8,000. That's right. All you have to follow this. From this place to get to the Sun Gate is over 45 minutes. No, round here. Enjoy it if you would not. But also you can get to the Vita Bridge. Shorter.
Tanto parte.
All right, mountain hikers over here. guarda. You see over there? It looks like a toy train. It goes, there is over there the hydroelectric power plant. It's the end of the train track system. By the way, east direction is over there.
Okay.
East, west, the south, and the north.
Bolivia.
East, west, the south, and the north. Now, if you see on the hill, there are some water pipes. And if you remember, when I was in the car, in the train, I told the clients, this is the town that was built 50 years ago. The town that I'm talking about is in that direction. And currently there is a tunnel under this big rocky mountain. And the reason why you see over there the water pipes is because at the bottom there is a hydroelectric power plant. As the reason I mentioned, thanks to the river, we have the electricity at home. Because at the bottom is the river. At the same time, turn around and look at over there. There are people who are walking, following the stairway. In the background, there is another landmark that I have to mention because sometimes the clients are wondering, Carlos, where is the Inca Bridge? The Inca Bridge is in that direction. If tomorrow you want to get to the Inca Bridge, keep in mind, first you should go to the guardhouse. From the guardhouse, you are going to follow the stairway. From the guardhouse to get to the Inca Bridge, only 15 minutes. Round trip, half an hour. Why I usually recommend it? Because when the clients, they go there, the scenery is like this. And we are able to show our clients the entire hydroelectric power plant that is in the background. That's the reason you see, again, the water pipes and the scenery is like this. Fantastic. And at the same time, look at here, there are narrow terraces. Sometimes, in Ollantaytambo, in Pisa, in the Sacred Valley, the terraces are wider. And in some cases, the Incas use it for farming. Potatoes, corn, lupins or lupinos, quinoa. But what about here? Never ever they use for farming because they're very narrow. The idea was when they built was to prevent erosion, to keep the soil. And sometimes they use it as hanging gardens. I mean, here were the gladiolas, the fuchsias, begonias, because it was a sacred site. It was a temple. It was a pilgrimage place for the people during Incan times. And turn around, were like this. Look at a lot of begonias.
Yeah.
Were a lot of combination with beautiful trees, indigenous trees, jacarandas, the angel trumpet plum or trumpet tree, begonias, fuchsias, bromelias, bamboo. It was well decorated during Incan times, of course.
Che bello, più magico.
Magico. È la parola magico. The animal that you see over there in the upper part is the llama. Always the llama is the tallest with long neck. There are 4: llamas, alpacas, vicuñas, and guanacos. Llamas and alpacas were domesticated 1,000 years before Christ, a long time ago. Llama is the tallest, a long neck, big ears. What about the alpaca? Alpaca looks like a sheep or merino. Here we don't have alpacas because it's too warm from the alpaca. The habitat of the alpaca is 3,000, 4,500 meters or 16, 17 and 20,000 feet, high altitude. Only there are llamas. I'm going to show you 20 or 25 llamas that are surrounding this place. And finally, there are 2 more, guanaco and vicuña. The vicuña, it looks like a deer. It's the smallest, skinny, but it's the finest fiber that we have in America. And a scarf made from vicuña can cost $1,000 US. It's the finest. Okay, hikers, we will continue over here, please. Come with me.
Sei? Me devi un po' usare. Dai, dammelo.
No, non lo penso te.
Okay, George, here is another official stop. Down Simonetta, Lucca. The idea is to
ecco
talk
qua.
about this gate. And before to talk about this gate, let me show you some details. Look at here on the wall. Go ahead, please, no worries. There is a handle here to the left side, and there is another one to the right side, okay? But there is another extra detail above the lintel. There is a ring rock. And I'm going to repeat, the sketch that was established by Hiram Bingham in 1912. Hiram Bingham mentioned, in my opinion, during Incan times, these ingenious guys, they covered this gate with a wooden door. How come? Was coming a tree trunk from the bottom in vertical position. There was here the tree trunk they tied with the string, with the rope. And also that's the reason that I show you the bamboo. They presume, as nowadays the farmers, they use it, a tree trunk of bamboo, and the last one was to the right side. And they did the same, they tied again. At the end, they had another tree trunk and was, in this case, in a horizontal position, and they tied again with the string, with the rope. And finally, as I show you about the lintel, you see the ring rock, they presume that was the biggest tree trunk in the middle, and finally they close. Why they close, as Hiram Bingham mentioned, in my opinion, was like a checkpoint. Because when they did the rituals, ceremonies, the sun festival, harvest time, there were some strong guys. Because when they were coming here, the people in and out, it was like a control. Otherwise, maybe keep in mind that from time to time they were fighting with the local tribes. That's the reason they closed. And I told you, they conquered a big space in South America, in Peru, and from time to time they were fighting. Another important detail. I'm wondering, you were in Ollantaytambo, you visited in Cusco a place that we call Sacsayhuamán. You were there? What about you, George?
No, tomorrow.
In Cusco?
Yeah, in Cusco.
Cusco, I was near the center Square.
But you visited a place that we call Sacsayhuamán with limestone, big rocks?
No, I
Okay.
didn't go there.
All of you are going to visit Sacsayhuamán, it's close Cusco. The city is at the bottom, in the upper part, it's a big construction, limestone, big rocks, huge rocks. And there are two places where big doorways like this, high doorways. And the clients are wondering, Carlos, why, if your ancestors and the mummies that show us that are very short people, why they build a high doorway? One of the reasons, not me, according to the scholars and the evidence they found, nobility, when they organize some festivals, they wore some headdresses, some crowns, and they understood that it was important to build like this. And in the upper part, and also soon I'm going to show you the place where Hiram Bingham found 2 or 3 mummies, how they believed in the life after death. When they organize the parade, the procession, they carry a book on their shoulders, and they understood. The idea is that we have to build a high doorway, otherwise we will be in trouble.
Did they use spears
What do you mean?
for weapons?
Yeah,
For spears?
yeah,
Okay.
sometimes, also,
Okay.
sometimes. In this case, that's the reason why they built a high doorway. Over here, please.
Invece là all'80 era piccolo.
Però la montagna era la stessa delle mummie che abbiamo visto noi io con anche la montagna.
Quando hai visitato Ollantaytambo ieri?
Ieri, bellissimo.
Sì, ieri.
Era uno dei miei punti essenziali del viaggio.
Vieni qui per cambiare. Okay, now, from time to time we will see like these high rocks. In Machu Picchu, that's true, 75 or 80% is original, aside from being dark. But in this case, part of this construction collapsed, and when Hiram Bingham arrived, he mentioned, oh, what a pity, what a shame. Some constructions in that archaeological place collapsed, and they left. The idea is to show you, and we have to tell you, 75% is original. 10 or 15% collapsed before Hiram Bingham arrived. And soon I have to talk about the techniques that the scholars they have to use to repair, to restore some constructions. Pile rocks. But at the same time, it's a solid construction, and very important, it's not like a huge construction, but it's essential. It's very simple. It's the drainage system. I am a lucky guy. I do this tour at any time of the year. I mean, summertime is coming soon. Rains a lot. And we visit this place because the Incas built the drainage. They understood could be a solid construction, but we need to build the irrigation system, the drainage system that every time, everywhere, I'm going to show you.
Rivers cut valleys in half.
Sorry.
Rivers cut mountains in half.
Yeah, that's right. That's right, John.
Oh wow.
Oh, look at the scene.
Yeah, this is a great spot. Wow. Ooh. was it trying to do?
This is the quarry, this is the mine. That's usually you see the huge rocks, the granite. And then you were wondering, look at, turn around, look at. Close the summit, there is another hill, and it's the place where was the origin of these rocks. I told you, maybe were the earthquakes that collapsed part of the mountain, or otherwise El Niño. But when the Incas arrived, they found like this. Lot of big rocks, they found the water that I showed you, the aqueduct, and they stood. Yes, why not? We have the water, we have the rock. This is the place where we have to build the pilgrimage place, the sacred site, the lodge, the temple, etc. And they did. They did. And soon also, oh, you look, I was wondering, look at the bottom, yes, the finest stonework. Soon I'm going to show you there are 3 or 4 places where they fit precisely without the concrete or mole. By the way, I think it's a good question. In Cusco, your tour guides will show you Sacsayhuamán, Coricancha is the finest stonework. Why? Cusco was the capital of the Inca Empire, and the idea was to show the power of the new culture of the Incas. But several places, also Machu Picchu, 80% they use it like this, little piece of rock with the mortar in the middle. When they built as over there, if you turn around, it's the finest stonework, no mortar. They presume that they use it for the rituals or ceremonies. It was a landmark. They presume, because something that should be very clear for you and pay attention is that, not me, the scholars, they said, in Peru we only know 10 or 15% of our real history. 80 or 85% are interpretations, speculations, a big mystery that someday we will know, maybe never, because they didn't have a written language. We adopted the Roman alphabet, the Latin, when the Spanish arrived. But before, nobody knows. Nobody knows.
Person to person.
Yeah, oral history.
Okay,
we will continue.
Oh wow.
Ha peccato col ciliegio.
Oh wow.
Ah, sì, certo. Ci sono tanti. Piccolo, piccolo, bellissimo. Ce l'hai colibria Italia? No, no, casa no.
No, no.
Guarda che bello che sulla montagna emerge.
Siamo qui ragazzi. Piano piano, piano piano.
This is where the Incans invented the plastic bucket.
Oh, come on, Doc. You are really funny. You're really funny. But they use it for the restorations currently.
Yeah.
When Hiram Bingham arrived, look at this nice natural rock. These ingenious guys, they built the wall. When Hiram Bingham took the pictures in 1912, he mentioned, oh, what a pity. Before we arrived with the expedition, the local people came here and they looted because they were looking for the treasure, the jewelry. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He found only some ceramics, some pots. But the idea here is to show you, look at here. On the wall is a little bit similar as the guard house, that is a replica recreation. This house was completely covered. I mean, if we want to get the replica recreation, we should get a tree trunk here, and also about another tree trunk to support it, the ring rock. And they tie together with bamboo, with thatched roof, and they cover. Stand by me, look at here. How they use it, the stone beams. Here.
Ah.
Together, the wooden beam, stone beam, and as usual they cover as over there. All these houses were originally covered with thatched roof as over there in the upper part with the guard house. Pile rocks, so I told you before they arrived. From large part of the construction. As George was wondering, they cover with this plastic bag because inside is the clay that they have to use it to restore it, to do the restoration, to repair. All right, look at this. Eyes
Wow.
only. Good expression, George. Wow. Look at the shape of the mountain. It's gorgeous. Nice. Bellissimo, bellissimo. And at the same time, look at here nearby is the aqueduct that I was talking about. And the water is running because they understood that water is life. And at the same time, here, this house, you see, last month they got some clay, some mortar in the middle. And if we want to know the mortar that they use it, when I do the Sacred Valley tour, I have to show my clients how they make the adobe or mud brick. The idea to make the adobe inside the mold, we should get clay, 60%, earth, some sand, some straw, some water all together, and they make the adobe, so mud bricks, during Incan times, pre-Incan times. I'm talking about the adobe because it's the same mortar that the Incas used to build their homes. And soon you will see men are working. The idea is to pull off the grass and to compact, to preserve the construction. When Hiram Bingham arrived in 1911 on July 24, the first time, he spent 5 hours and he took some pictures. Some of the houses, when they finished the construction, they covered with clay and plaster. I mean, was part of the drainage system. Because look at over there. It's the guard house. When they conclude the construction, they cover with the straw. It's steep because they understood that they were close to the Amazon and rains a lot at any time of the year. They finished the construction, they covered with the clay and plaster, but what happened? Disappeared the thatched roof and was part of the erosion effect. Removed the clay and plaster. That's the reason that you see little piece of rock at the mortar I'm talking about. The same mortar, if you want it, you can touch here, is the same mortar that the scholars, they have to use it to preserve the Inca construction. If you see over there, all the walls, they have the same material, the mortar. Every time that we are going to visit Pisac, Ollantaytam, Saxon, and the scholars, they have to use it because it's the same mortar that Incas and pre-Incas use it to build their homes, to make the adobes, etc., etc. But only here they covered it with clay and plaster. Look at over there. Never ever was covered with clay and plaster because they understood that was solid enough. But look at the drainage system. They understood it's going to rain a lot. We have to build the drainage, and the idea is it flows into the river. One more time. And very clear. Also the same. Look at these stone beams should be on the wall. They use it to cover the thatched roof. Ingenious, smart, and strong guys. Question, George?
Yeah.
Yes.
Where in this mountain area are they getting the adobe?
No, the adobe no, the clay.
The clay, yeah.
Clay, because it's a mixture. In the upper part,
Yeah.
in here, they have clay,
Okay.
they have earth, there's some straw.
Okay.
They imported from the Sacred Valley. They brought
Okay.
with some animals, with alpacas maybe or llamas,
Okay.
and
Okay.
they got water here, and they mix all together.
Okay. So they brought it here.
They
To
brought.
so this was probably the last of the construction.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's right. But the most important is that they covered it with clay and plaster, because they understood when they finished the construction that was part of the drainage system.
Well, yeah, because you'd want to keep this out of the house and move it out towards.
That's right. That's it.
Here.
Yeah. Currently, there are houses in the Sacred Valley in the Amazon.
Yeah.
When they finish the construction, also they have to do the same, to cover it with clay and plaster.
Yeah.
Because they know that the way live like this will collapse.
Yeah.
Much better if they cover it with clay and plaster.
Ci dai solo questo passaggio in italiano del... Cos'è adobe in English?
Adobe,
Adobe
mud
cos'è?
brick or adobe. Is,
Adobe, yeah.
En español es lo mismo, adobe. Han visitado el Valle Sagrado.
Sì.
Son las casas de adobe que hacen de barro. Capisci?
Ma in
No, no,
italiano
no.
cos'è? Non lo sai.
No, ho dimenticato, mi dispiace,
Ah,
no es bueno el italiano,
non è
pero
un problema.
el adobe es para construir las casas en el campo del campesino. O sea, en un molde de madera, se pone, han hecho también en Italia años atrás, se mezcla en el molde tierra, arcilla, agua,
Sì, sì,
arena,
Ah,
todo
ok.
per
eso
fare la
se-
malta.
¿cómo se llama?
Per fare la
Cioè,
tipo
cemento,
malta,
è-
Come cemento, ma non
Ok.
è cemento, perché
No.
il cemento è diverso.
Esatto, è diverso.
È diverso.
Sì, sì.
Noi si chiama in spagnolo adobe.
Ok, ok.
In English is mud brick or adobe. Should be la stessa cosa per
Dove
il
mettevano anche le uova, no? Questo,
qualcuna volta,
Qualcuna
volta. Si può un po' la fibra della lama,
Sì,
ma
paglia.
la paglia, giusto.
Capito.
Ma noi chiamiamo adobe o
Ok.
mud brick.
Grazie.
Prego.
No, un'altra domanda in italiano.
No.
Very last one. In Italian.
You're fine.
Scusa, perché questo parete con... invece lì, come capivano che era più forte questa? Di non mettere la malta in
Yeah.
queste fessure? Mi sono persa questo passaggio.
In inglese, in italiano.
In italiano se puoi, sei John...
Yeah.
No, it's okay.
It's okay for you.
Yeah, I think I know what you're
Sai
asking.
che questo è forte, non è necessario di mettere
No,
questo.
solo per la grandezza delle pietre.
Per la grandezza e
Ok,
per la
ok,
fortaleza.
basta.
Perché questo non è necessario. Perché questo è piccolo, guarda,
Ok.
la pietra è piccola,
No,
ma
no, ho capito.
è necessario il drenaje.
Sì, basta, grazie.
Prego. Prego, Simonetta. Oh, guarda che bella la roccia.
Ti grata.
Guarda che bello.
Oh.
Muchos. Okay, now, how I told you, in Peru, we have the same problem as in the United States, in California. They have the San Andres Fault, the earthquakes. In Peru, we have the Nazca Fault, and when I do this tour in Cusco that you did it or you are going to do, in Cusco we have a little bit similar as in Rome, in Italy, the fantastic heritage. The pre-Columbian heritage at the bottom, and above the colonial heritage. In Cusco area, there were two hard earthquakes, 1650s, 1950s, And the colonial heritage collapsed. I mean, the churches, colonial houses, and chapels, and they use concrete or cement to repair. What about the Inca constructions? I like this, well preserved. Good engineers, smart engineers and architects, and also geologists, one of the reasons is completely clear. Look at this narrow street. If you see on the corner, you see the inward inclination. It's completely clear. If you see the border, is the inward inclination. This wall and also this house. You see the corner exactly. The inward inclination and the scholar they said were built to withstand earthquakes. Happened the earthquake, that's right.
Triangles.
Yeah,
Think of
like
bridges.
triangles, yes, that's right, like trapezoidal shape and very smart and clever. But here, it's very simple, but essential. You see in the upper part there is a hole. It's the drainage. And it's still muddy because 2 days or 3 days ago it was raining a lot. And they understood. Have to close- Yes, the drainage to send the water again to the bottom.
Gutters.
Yeah, that's right. Smart and clever. And at the same time also the stone beams that I show you and the ring rocks. Over here, please, we are going to follow this narrow street. Come with me, please.
Oh wow.
Un po' scugliose a testa.
It's not the karaoke. They compacted clay. The clay with some earth. Why? Because we are really lucky. We have some days in Machu Picchu 5,000 people or 6,000 people. That's the reason, and they know that's coming soon the summertime. Rains a lot. And that's the reason they have to do that job. Okay? And at the same time, stand by me. Get over there. This is the place that I told you and I showed you before. The Temple of the Sun, or the Sun Temple with a circular shape. In front of us, there is a window. And that one now is completely clear. Look at that huge document.
Yeah.
And we have that event, what I told you, in our winter time on June 21st. The first light illuminated in Kyoto, once a year on June 21st. And in the middle you see there is a carved rock that they use it like an altar. According to scholars, the place where they left coca leaves, quinoa, potatoes, corn, with some blankets, carpets, with the idols, because it was the best place for the rituals, the ceremonies. And at the same time now, to the right side there is another window that's perfectly aligned to the sun gate. As I told you, we have the same event in our summer time for the summer solstice, for the harvest time that currently we have. And at the same time, it's one of the places that Luca was wondering. You see how they fit precisely the rock without the concrete more. Some scholars, they said, maybe the Incas understood that was a landmark. That's the reason that is one of the finest stoneworks. Also on the corner, you see, is the inward inclination. And what about that on the corner piece of glass? 2 years ago, the scholars, they decided to do an excavation. And they found underground some ceramics, some turquoise. Currently, still they are digging. They covered because they know that the weather is unpredictable here. That's the reason that they have to cover. But still they are doing. They are restoring. They are doing the excavations. Also later I'm going to show another good example where they are working. The men are work with the scholars, with the researchers, and at the same time. It's a bit quite similar. We can compare Machu Picchu with Cusco with Mexico, Mexico with Rome, with Jerusalem. When the scholars decided to do excavations, always they will find some stuff, some evidence. As usual, still they are working. Okay, over here, please. This is the quarry, this is the mine. It's the place where they brought probably 80 or 90% of the constructions that you see now. But before talking about this place, is my point of view. In Cusco, there are 7 or 8 good museums. But the clients as you the one in Carlos, we don't have plenty of time. In your opinion, which one is the best museum? In my opinion, is the Incas Museum. Quickly you will remember, you will recognize. It's a landmark in Cusco we call Plaza de Armas, or the main square. Here is the cathedral, the main church, and to the right side there is another street. On the corner you will see a nice colonial construction we call the Incas Museum. The schedule to visit that museum every day is from 7:30 to 5:30 p.m. from Monday to Saturday. But let me tell you why usually I recommend it. If you will go there, you will see blankets, carpets, necklaces, earrings, idols, turquoise, lapis lazuli. And upstairs there is a room where you will see 11 or 12 mummies that were found in different archaeological places. The mummies, how I told you before, in fetal position because they believed in the life after death. And close that room, you will see the tools that underground, the scholars they found here. The bronze Jesus and hammer stones. In this case, hammer stone, they use the black hematite. The black hematite is harder than the granite. If I want to split the rocks with the same tools and the same techniques, what I have to do? I think it's a good example. Look at that rock. The first step, should strike and to make the holes, is the first step. When we have the holes like this, then we should get some piece of wood as wooden wedges. Should strike again with the hammer stone. When the piece of wood as wooden wedges are on the rock, the idea is to pour some water, probably 10 times per day, 1 month. If you put some water on the wood expanded and split the rock. It's a good example, and at the same time, look at over there. There is a huge rock, and show us how these ingenious guys, they split the rock. And the next goal was to drag up. I apologize, we can't visit this place because they got some ropes, some sticks, and they said it's forbidden to get inside the quarry. But inside there are 11 or 12 rocks like that. Huge rocks that they left. They couldn't conclude. They couldn't conclude the construction because I told you, maybe it's the year when the brothers, they were fighting with each other by the power. It was the Civil War. Or otherwise, it's when the Spanish conquistadors arrived and we imported the new disease, especially the Black Death was scarce for the Andean society. It was the same in Mexico. When Hernan Cortez arrived in Mexico, also they imported and they thousands of people they killed.
So Machu Picchu was more of a social place rather than a
Yes.
military fortification?
Excellent, not exactly. One of the reasons, turn around again, look at over there.
Yeah.
Usually it's cloudy because it's the Amazon, the jungle. And the jungle is completely different. It's very hot, wet, humidity is terrible. And the Incas were there several times and they conquered the Amazon. Why? It's my point of view, just in case. You should visit in Cusco, is the main food market. San Pedro, you don't need to do a reservation, you don't need an admission ticket. When you will go there, you will see it's open from 6 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. every day. When you will go there, you will see coca leaves, yuca manioc. We have pineapples, papayas, mandarins, guavas. It's a lot of products that currently we have. It was the same during Incan times. And also they got a lot of animals, jaguars, wild pigs, black caimans, snakes. For the decoration, a lot of macaws, and they understood. Currently, or soon you will see in the upper part the sun gates, right?
Yeah.
When we do the Inca Trail, we spend 4 days. We have to visit the small Inca constructions that the Incas built a long time ago. Cusco was the capital of the Inca Empire. When the Spanish arrived, they switched to get to Lima because it was close to the Pacific Ocean. Cusco was the capital of the Inca Empire, and they decided, the same as the Romans in Europe, if we want to get to the Amazon, first we have to build the trail. And then they built from time to time some lodges, pilgrimage places that they used during the year. I mean, the Incas were here, and they spent 1 or 2 days to get to the Amazon. They spent 5 days, 10 days in the Amazon. On the way back, they were here because they understood there were lodges, some refuges.
Okay.
They spent 1 or 2 days, and then they followed the Inca Trail to get to Cusco. Also, they use it for Sun Festival, Moon Festival, but the main goal is that Cusco is aligned or Machu Picchu is aligned to get to the Amazon That's nearby.
Okay. So it's a
That's it.
strategic location.
That's right.
Okay.
One
So
of the reasons.
so it's not quite like a fortification like
Not
Neuschwanstein in Germany or some castles in
Yeah,
Japan
good.
where they're in mountains
Castles.
because they couldn't be taken.
Exactly. That's the reason why when the Spanish arrived
Yeah.
and they were in Saxo-Anhalt, they told that they were,
Yeah.
and they said, it was a castle, it was a fortress, a military construction. No, in Europe they were, but here no.
But here it's cultural.
Yeah, but mainly it was a pilgrimage place,
Okay.
a sacred site, a temple, completely different.
Okay. That makes sense why there's so many terraces for
That's right.
farming
That's right.
and
for farming,
temples and
like
no main
hanging
castle.
gardens. Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Okay.
Another
Oh wow.
idea.
This is beautiful.
And yes, beautiful garden. And that one, if you see, is a beautiful bromeliad. Look at with the red leaves. They are two together. What else we have here? Yeah, something that for you is important, and also for me. Look at the coca plant. Usually we provide you the coca leaves. That's the clients that are wanting. Carlos, we want to see the coca plant in Cusco. Impossible, because Cusco is 3,400 meters or 11,200 feet. Stand off here, it's lower land. That's the reason that it's coca. It's not a tree, it's a bush. Usually the farmers they grow in the lower part in the Amazon. What else we have here? If you recognize over there at the bottom, some strawberries.
Yeah.
Tiny strawberries.
Have 'em in my
Yes.
yard.
Oh, you have?
Yes. Strawberries.
Good.
Wild strawberries. Very
wild.
small.
Yeah,
Very small. Wild ones.
Tiny.
Not really. Don't eat. Not really great to eat.
Yeah. For the birds, probably.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, here is a nice orchid, pink one.
Oh
the
yeah.
biggest. What else we have here? Begonias, another type of begonia, the pink one. Begonias. At the same time, we have more strawberry.
Whole bunch.
tiny.
So they grow this high up.
Yes. And here,
Ah.
maybe you try, maybe, but in Peru and Cusco, the consumption is a lot. We call yuca, rumu, manioca. It's a tuber that grows underground. Especially in the Amazon, we have a lot. The skin is brown, inside is white. Very tasty, yuca. There is another tiny orchid, white one. Here, there is another one, look at the bottom.
Uh-huh.
There's another orchid, fuchsias, lilies, begonias, and the strawberries at the bottom. And this is the place that also Luca was wondering. Look at here. How is the effect
Wow.
of the earthquake that I mentioned? But at the same time, show us how they fit precisely. In Cusco, we have in Saxo-Anhalt limestone, black andesite, with pasta, basalt. Look at here. But in Cusco, it's limestone and black andesite. We don't have in Cusco granite because it's the harder rock. You see the effect of the earthquake, and it's my point of view. Nobody knows. I told you that they use the bronze chisels and hammer stones to split the rock. But a lot of times they're wondering what kind of tools they use to get precisely without the complete model. I am a very lucky guy. 2 years ago, I was, maybe you were there, in the United States, the Metropolitan Museum. You have also in Turin, fantastic heritage from Egypt. Also, they use it the same granite, and nobody knows how they fit precisely because it's this harder rock. It's a big mystery. A lot of big mysteries that we have rapid, or not only in Peru. We have close Peru in Chile, the Easter Island. Huge rocks, how they cover the rock with some faces, nobody knows. In the United States, they call Mesa Verde the Anasasis in Esteban, Slovenia. They have big mysteries also in Stonehenge. They have in Italy, in Jordania, Petra, in Egypt. Someday we will know, and also here, look at.
Alien technology.
That's right. You are very smart, Luca. You are very smart. Also we will visit that place.
Sembra spettacolare questo.
Certo, sono quello con te Lucca. Okay, now. It's one of the finest stoneworks here, and it's the same that I'm going to repeat the name that was established by Hiram Bingham, the Temple of Three Windows. No more in the middle, hard rock, granite, thankfully well preserved. Nearby, according to Hiram Bingham, is the main temple. Huge rocks. It's a little bit destroyed on the corner is the erosion and the earthquakes that I mentioned before. Originally, this construction was covered with thatched roof. That's the reason you see these sunbeams. At the bottom, the big rocks Hiram Bingham mentioned. I'm sure before we arrived with the expedition, the local people, they came here and they destroyed the evidence because they looted, because they were looking for the jewelry, the treasure, you know what I mean? The main temple, Temple of Three Windows, and nearby. It's completely different. It's another material and the modern middle and Hiram Bingham mentioned. In my opinion, it was the medicinal man house. 90% of the scholars say no, we disagree. For us, it's the place where they settled the Incas. It's the first place where they built during Incan times. That's the reason it's the modern mill. But in general, you see fantastic construction. What we are going to do now, we will get to the corner. It's a resting place. We are going to spend 4 or 3 minutes, and then we will get to the upper part where the sand and rock. Over here.
Since there's no front on that building, do you think it was more of an half amphitheater with a roof on the top where they could speak to this crowd in the middle?
But keep in mind that these houses, all of them were with thatched roof. I mean, only in the middle was like a courtyard, open area.
Okay.
Yes. Please come with me. Take a seat if you want it. We will get some water here.
Le cime andine sono l'ovest, le cime altissime.
Cosa?
Le cime con le vette.
Sì. Con ghiacciaio?
Esatto.
5.800 più o meno. Anche c'è altro di là che si chiama Salcantay, 6.000.
Pazzesco. Grazie. Scusami.
Would you like some grapes, George?
Thank you.
Grazie.
Prego. Per la Giugina?
No.
No? Uvita? Oh, mi stai parlando benissimo l'italiano? Sei bravo. Sei bravo.
Another nice view, the west side of Machu Picchu. Beautiful side too. We have this was the hydroelectric at Machu Picchu. Maybe you saw a dam before we arrived to Australia. Then this is kind of old homework. The water that's down here by this channel is the same water of Uruguay River. One of the rivers, like from the south to the over there we have a little
Come ti senti? Bene? Non hai mal di testa?
No, no,
Tutto a
no,
posto?
abbiamo sofferto per niente.
another access that you can come here. You can take the bus
Oh, davvero?
like town that
Complimenti.
very long way.
Questa è la prima volta per
This
Sì,
one
per
takes
sì.
more of these young people who guys
anche per Luca.
too much money by train, and the car was cheaper. But after that, take train to Caliente,
Penso che dobbiamo. Ok, George. This is the same river that I told you, look at. Urubamba, Wilkamai, that goes to the Amazon. Because it's the origin of the Amazon River in a place that we call Puno. Maybe you heard about the Lake Titicaca.
Mm-hmm.
When we go there, in halfway we stop with bus, with the train, and a huge snow-capped mountains, a big chain of snow-capped mountains, the origin of this river. And it's coming from southeast and goes to the northwest direction and joins with another river that we call Tambo in the Amazon. They form the Ucayali River, which is a tributary of the Amazon. And it flows into the Atlantic Ocean at Brazil. It flows 7,400 kilometers or 4,000 miles in total. And also you see a lot of terraces are coming from the bottom. And according to scholars, when the Incas arrived here, they found this place, but they understood we have to build the terraces, and they began the construction from the bottom. Terraces, little by little, from the bottom, and they built this construction up in the upper part. And at the same time, only I can show you a few parts of the Inca construction, because also they have underground, a subterranean construction, big rocks, a lot of mud bricks or adobes and stones that they use it. It's amazing here. Thousands of people together. Well, also here we have, maybe you have in your garden, maybe later I'm going to show you more, the blue one, blue flower, is forget-me-not. Forget-me-not that we have everywhere.
Seria roba. Distinto anche.
Hola. ¿Todo bien, Silvio? ¿Disfrutando? Sí, disfrutando. I don't know. If you see the shape of this rock and you compare it, that mountain, it looks like the same shape. If you see this one, look up, it looks like. They presume, or the Incas believe in nature, that they have the rock in the shape of the rock because the spirit of the mountain was important for them. Because some clients, they told me, Carlos, maybe you drank 2 pisco sours or the wine, it's only your imagination. But no, there are several places where they cover the rock. It looks like that they represent the spirit of the mountain. Because keep in mind, we imported a new religion from Europe, the Catholicism. That is different because in Incan times they believe in nature. Currently we believe in nature as completely different religion.
Almost there. Come with me. Hermano, ¿cómo estás? Qué gusto verte. ¿Todo bien, hermano? Bien, gracias. Qué gusto verte, hermano.
Come la faccia del
¿Todo bien? Perfecto, hermano. This is another landmark, well known as the Sundial Rock. And Hayden Bingen mentioned, yes, during Incan times, over there is the west direction where the sun is shining, casts the shadow and tells the time. But a lot of times they're wondering, Carlos, when it was rainy season, it's foggy, misty, but they use it also Sundial Rock. 90% of the scholars they say never ever they use a Sundial Rock. And currently, let me tell you quickly, when we visit the snow-capped mountains, big villages, little people, believe it or not, the farmers, they don't need to wear a watch or a clock because they need to know only 3 times during the day. When the sun rises over the east, at midday, and when the sun sets. It's a simple life. Lifestyle in the countryside is different. They say 90% of the scholars never ever they use a Sundial Rock. In our opinion, in Quechua, we call usnu, and we can translate as altar. An altar where they wrap it with some blankets, with some carpets, and they left here coca leaves, quinoa, potatoes, corn,
Un altare.
idols, like an altar exactly. Meanwhile, they were walking here, look around, look at that. What they were at the moment, hundreds of people for big celebrations, sun festival, harvest time, sowing time, they literally got their speech. It was the echo, the acoustic. And on the terraces, there were hundreds of people together. Now we are going to follow this stairway, please, little by little. Take your time. For past mineral work, they have to do restorations, they have to repair little by little, of course, and the ancestors, of course, they were the mountain goats. Even slow babies are working, it's amazing.
Oh yeah, imagine the guys originally building the terraces down there.
And of course, a lot of people died.
I was about to say no rope suspension.
Yeah, that's right.
Do you know the estimated population of the Incan Empire at its peak?
You mean in general, George, in South America?
Yeah.
Incan Empire? Excellent. We should tell the rest of it. George is wondering about the population in Incan times, not only Machu Picchu,
full time. They presume that there were 20 million, not only in Peru. That is what I told you.
Yeah.
The Incas were in Ecuador, in Colombia, in Argentina, in Chile, and also in Peru. By the way, 20 million because they built like this, a lot of constructions. Another important detail usually the clients are wondering, and what about the population in Incan times in Machu Picchu? Nobody knows. But when Hiram Bingham arrived, he mentioned, in my opinion, here in Machu Picchu, in this construction, there were 1,000 people. But it's really interesting. When he did 1,000 people. When he did the excavations, he didn't find the waste system, the bathrooms or toilets. He didn't find the tools that they use for farming. He didn't find the kitchens and ovens, etc., etc. Currently, they presume that it was a pilgrimage place for pilgrims. And they were here only when they visited the Amazon the jungle, and they spent 10 days during the month, or maybe a few. Of course, there were 4 or 5 families, that's it. And the labor of the families was to repair the thatched roof, their houses, to control the aqueducts, to check the lodges. But I told you before, in Peru, we only know, not me, the scholars, they say, we only know 10% of our real history because they didn't have a written language. That's the reason I have different interpretations and speculations.
Yeah, and I noticed that none of the houses have fireplaces.
No.
For cooking.
Exactly.
So
they didn't find, because if I want to spend 1 year with my children, with my relatives,
I need
a fireplace or for cooking. So, and they found only 2. That means that it's strange.
Yeah.
That's the reason that they presume that was for the pilgrimage.
So it's definitely, it was either very unfinished or it wasn't,
unfinished, maybe,
or it just wasn't
interpretation.
Yeah, or it just wasn't made for people to live here very long.
Now it's completely clear. Look at the Inca Trail. The Inca Trail that goes to the Sun Gate. And at the same time, if you see over there is the guardhouse, where we're really close to the guardhouse, but if you turn to the left side, is the rock. Currently there are people at the bottom. There's a guy with a t-shirt. There is another lady, she has blue eyes. She smiles now. well, my second name is Nikolai George. But the reason why I'm talking about that rock is because the place where Hiram Bingham and George Eaton, at the end of 1912, they found 5 mummies in fetal position with a lot of turquoise, lapis lazuli. By the way, important to mention, because they found some idols with turquoise, with lapis lazuli, seashell, figurines, and they're wondering, we are in Machu Picchu, we are in Cusco. How come lapis lazuli? Lapis lazuli they brought from Chile, because it was the Incan territory. What about the coral? What about the seashell? They brought from Ecuador, because they understood it was part of the Incan territory. Amazing. And they were in Cusco to exchange, to barter, to trade, of course.
That's true, but this definitely doesn't seem like a trade city.
Yeah, in Cusco.
Cusco, definitely.
Because it was the capital of the Incan part.
Was the river higher
Yes,
before?
in the summertime.
Oh, okay.
That's
When it
the
rains.
reason why. Currently, maybe later you will see it's a little bit green, the river.
Oh, okay.
But when amazing in January, February, or March, George,
Yeah.
it looks like hot chocolate running mad. Sometimes when we have problems with El Nino, rivers overflow.
Ah.
I don't know if you remember. Well, for me it's clear. 2010, we had no problem with El Nino, and disappeared the train track system 10 kilometers because the river is close.
Yeah.
It's really close.
Yeah.
And it flowed and destroyed almost everything. It was disaster for us.
I was in California during an El Nino.
Oh,
I
really?
was born there.
Ah, you were born in California.
And the mudslides.
Which means also you have problems with El Nino.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, California only gets rain for maybe 5 days out of the year, and it rains 8 inches on dry dirt.
8 inches.
And in just about 5 days over like in February. So houses just go down.
What a pity, yeah.
Not where I lived, but near there in Southern California. It would be bad.
You live in the upper part of California.
I lived in Southern California.
South.
Just the area I was flat desert. So
I tried, because I was in New York 2 years ago. I love the wine. The best wine that
oh, Napa.
ever. Yeah.
Northern.
Delicious. Normally I drink Argentina wine.
I drink Argentinian wine.
From Mendoza.
Uh-huh.
So Chile, they have, also we have in Peru, but the best one is the Argentina.
No.
And then try that.
Pisco from
Yeah, also Pisco.
Cusco. from Peru.
Ciao fratello, come vai?
Oh, is this the mountain?
Yes. They presume that they covered the rock with the shape of that big mountain. Well, one of the interpretations that they say. But also we will get the bottom of that rocky
Maybe
mountain.
they just never got to carving it.
They did an excellent job. Genius, smart.
Allora, una domanda. Prima
Mi dica.
della scoperta come si chiama? Bingham,
Hiram Bingham, that's right.
la popolazione locale conosceva già e frequentava il posto.
Certo. Per questo ti ho
Non è-
detto,
non è una scoperta, è
che-
solamente una rivalutazione.
è giusto. Questa is a good question.
Oh.
Hiram Bingham was in 1911 on July 24.
Uh-huh.
He was looking for not Machu Picchu, was looking for another place that we call Vilcabamba. Currently is in the Amazon. And he followed the river at the bottom, where is the train track. And he found, you see this rocky mountain? In the background there is a place where we call Mandor. And he was there. Hiram Bingham. He asked local people, I'm looking for Vilcabamba or Vilcus. And they answered, we don't know what you are talking about. But on the top of the mountain, there is an archaeological place that our ancestors left us. The local people knew about Machu Picchu. Never ever Hiram Bingham discovered Machu Picchu. Lucky guy, he followed the local people and he arrived in 1911. But I mean, why Hiram Bingham was looking for that place, Vilcabamba? Because it was the last refuge of the Incas. It's when the Spanish arrived, they were fighting with the local people, and 22 years later they captured the last king that we call Manco Inca. And Manco Inca was in the Amazon, Vilcabamba. It was the lost city of the Incas, and Hiram Bingham was wondering, I would like to visit that place. But when he was looking for that place, he found Machu Picchu. One more time, Hiram Bingham mentioned several times, what a pity, what a shame, before we arrived with the expedition, the local people were here in Machu Picchu. Because they came here, they understood it was like a cemetery, and they looted. Because they got some treasures, some turquoise, lapis lazuli, etc., etc. That's right. Now turn around and look at that Rocky Mountain. It'll be clear.
Wanna put you.
Huayna Picchu, that's right, that's the Quechua name here. And it's open, the schedule to visit this place every day from 7 a.m. to 1 p.m. 400 people per day. They split it in two groups. From 7 to 8, 200 people. From 10 to 11, 200 people more. So they have to come here. That's the reason it's closed with the lock. And you have to show the ticket that you have to pay, I think, $5 extra. And then you have to follow the stairway to get to the top. I can't show you the stairway that we have to follow because covered like this with bamboo and fern. But it's exactly in the middle of this mountain with a zigzag shaped hairpin bend that we have to follow. And the summit is the end, on the top. 2,800 meters or 9,200 feet. From the checkpoint that's here, to get to the summit, we spent 45 minutes for going. Round trip, 1.5 hours.
That's not as bad as I thought.
Yeah. And last month, no, 2 months ago, I got overnight in Aguascalientes, and there were 11 people from Amsterdam, Dutch people, almost my age. I am 54 years old, and they were 50s, and we spent from this checkpoint to get to the summit 20 minutes. Yes, but we enjoy very much. Why not? You can do it, or maybe we can catch the elevator or cable. But now look at it, it's very clear. You see terraces, close the summit,
terrazze anche su.
and close the summit there is a little house.
Uh huh.
There is a little house with some windows, and some clients are wondering, Carlos, the Incas were crazy. How come they decided to build on the top of the mountain little house? They weren't crazy. It was a relationship with the philosophy, with the religion. Once again, we imported the new religion from Europe, Catholicism. That's different. I presume you should visit the cathedral. That's the main church in Cusco. When I do the tour, my colleagues, they will show you the oil canvases that were made in the 16th, 17th, and 18th century. The altar pieces with Baroque style, cedar wood, elder wood, gold, silver, the sacristy room. And the people go there because they know that the priest or bishop is going to celebrate the mass. But always the churches and the chapels with a roof on the top. But what about us? Because I'm lucky guy, I was born in Cusco. Never ever we have to build a temple with a roof. This area is the temple. It's the place when we walk, we feel the connection with the Mother Earth. It's the place where we feel the spirits of the mountains. And when the Incas were here, they followed the stairway to get to the summit because in their mind they will close the sun,
Yeah.
the moon, the Milky Way, the rainbow. And when they finished the ritual, they returned to the little house. As usual, they found the stuff that they told you, some idols, some ceramics, some mugs, some pots, because it was a special place for the rituals or ceremonies for the Incan times. Okay? The name is Huayna Picchu. Over here, please.
So I know the Incans didn't have a written language,
There is
and
no
they did.
African language.
But what about numbers and calculations, or was it all just taught orally? Because I mean they.
Yeah,
They
they got it. They use it, some names, the numbers also, that still we use it.
Mhm.
And they got it, they found some system with some nudes and roads that we
Uh-huh.
call quipus. But it's the shape how they understood when they were in storage, they were the potatoes, the corn.
Mhm.
But talking about the writing language,
Yeah.
it
It just wasn't there.
Yes, that's right.
Wow. This is a great view.
All right.
No, è poco, è poco.
Passerello.
No, come hai visto mi sta vicino.
Quello è spungito, quello dove per le bacchette, no? Velenoso.
If you see now, again, it's a solid construction. Look at the big rocks, nice wall. But at the same time, the idea is to show you, look at how it grows quickly with grass and bushes. That's the reason why soon you will see men and walk. The idea is to pull off the grass and bush, because here it's very wet. Humidity is a serious problem. The reason during the year they have to pull off, they have to cut the bushes, bamboo. And yes, also nearby, the main work they're doing the same that I should to compact with clay and earth. tardes, buenas tardes. Profesor, buenas tardes. Nice scenery here. And something that I would like to show you. In front of us, big mountain. It looks like someone cut with a knife. You see, in the middle?
Mm-hmm.
2 years ago, these scholars decided to do some excavations, and currently they found more aqueducts.
Ah.
Still they are deep. I mean, when Hiram Bingham arrived in 1911, Machu Picchu was like this. Overgrown with bushes, bamboo, flowers, trees, grass. That's the reason why he spent with the expedition at least 4 years, in and out.
To clean, to...
Exactly, to do the restoration, to repair, to do the excavations, etc., etc. And still, probably there are more constructions. Again, only 2 years ago they found the scholars, that aqueduct that you see over there. They are doing more excavations, and maybe later we will know more information, more into constructions. By the way, if you see here, I don't know if you're trying the passion fruit, granadillas, yeah. It grows everywhere. It grows from the vine, yeah, granadillas, si chiama così. Granadilla.
Oh, voleva un granadillo. Quello che fatto Sì,
Colibri. Qui che bello, questo orso qua. Mentioned the museum of the terraces at the bottom, was the river. At the end of 1915, Hiram Bingham found 50 mummies over there above the terraces. But 95% of the mummies that Hiram Bingham found over there were in bad condition. Let me tell you why. Again, here you can see the problem here is terrible with the weather. Really wet. It can rain at any time of this humidity, and at the same time, I had being a red nation. I told you, before we arrived with the expedition, the local people came here and they destroyed the mummies. Also, maybe soon I'm going to show you there is an animal I'm looking for. Maybe soon I'm going to show you. In English, they said we can call Peruvian chinchilla. It's like a bunny, a rabbit. Soon I'm going to show you, but it's a rodent and they destroyed the mummies. At the same time, we have fox here. Fox
To eat the chinchillas.
Yeah. And that's the reason why the mummies that Hiram Bingham found over there were in bad condition. Except that I show you the big rock, big stone, 5 mummies, well preserved. But maybe soon I'm going to show you in this area the chinchillas, or maybe in the other side of the corner. Over here. Picture is a picture. Step here. Take your time.
is a two-story house.
Exactly. Upstairs they use it as second floor.
Mm-hmm.
Very ingenious and smart. You know we are. Still you see they are doing the restoration, but it's important detail that I would like to show you. First, look at the holes on the wall. Here they combine the windows. The windows to illuminate the interior of the room. But what about this? According to scholars and evidence they found, also Hiram Bingham and some researchers, here they left the ritual cups, the idols, the figurines. That's the reason, it's my point of view. You should visit the Incas Museum in Cusco. In Lima also, I told you the Largo Herrera Museum, and you will understand. Because currently, I have to show you only the storage storehouses, the aqueducts, the terraces. But what about in the background? They got some mugs, pots, ceramics, necklaces, earrings, etc., etc. But anyway, also another important detail. If I want to use this house with a second floor or upstairs, quite easy. I should cover with some tree trunks. Why they build like this? There are 10 constructions with the same characteristic like this. It's a neighborhood for the storage storehouses. I mean, they left above coca leaves, alpaca wool, llama wool, vicuña wool. I don't know, I think I was a lucky guy. I was in Italy a long time ago, also in the United States. Also you grow potatoes. But you should visit the main food market. Currently in Peru we consume a lot. It's the white potato, it's the dry or dehydrated potato. The idea is to take out the water of the potato. We call moraya. When we process that dry potato, we can keep, well, normally in Italy, in the United States and Peru, we can keep the potatoes 4 or 5 months maximum. But what about the dry or dehydrated potatoes? We can keep 1 month, 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. If we want to try it again, we boil it and we try. And they left here with the alpaca wool, with the coca leaves. Why? It's a relationship with El Niño, because El Niño was a seiko, and they understood. If we will have problems with El Niño, we will come here because it was used as a storage storehouse. It will be quite similar as in Egypt. Egyptians, they were thinking about they built some storage, the same idea here. But again, we want to do the replica recreation, only we have to cover with some tree trunks, the same that they are doing currently surrounding here and in the other. Sorry, George.
What do they do about, in Egypt they didn't have this problem with grain storage because there wasn't a lot of arid moisture in the air.
Yeah.
But here there's so much moisture in the air. What do they do about, because yes, grains and dried things last a long time, but the most important problem is they get mold, they get funguses that cause problems, mental health issues, death, and other things.
In some cases, they use it here some ceramics, and they cover about. They got it at the bottom, dry potatoes or coca leaves, and on the top they cover some natural some medicinal herbs, some aromatic herbs that they use it to get out the insects, the parasites.
Gotcha.
Currently, they are doing the same.
Okay.
It's smart and clever.
Okay.
Because
Yeah, because I know there aren't a lot of. I don't know if there's any salt
Exactly.
deposits around here,
No,
so
no,
there's nothing to
that's
preserve.
Exactly, nothing
Okay.
to preserve. Over here, please.
They were short.
And how you love the nature as me. In the Santa Rosa Hotel, it's a nice flower. That's white one. It's the ancient trumpet flower or trumpet tree. It's orange color. Usually you will see orange, red, and white color, but trumpet flower or trumpet tree that we exported a lot to the United States and Europe also. But it's indigenous from this place. Over here, please, over here.
what I mean? It's very much like Chile. Come closer. That's the animal that I was talking about.
Oh,
Look on the rock. It looks like a bunny.
like a large fat squirrel.
That's right. It looks like a squirrel with long tail. I don't know, it's the siesta time or hangover.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of chinchillas on the rock. And the animal who I told you that they also are rodents. They destroy the mummies.
Le mani.
And interesting, and let me talk about. When I do the tour in Machu Picchu, inside the cathedral. Inside the cathedral, my colleagues will show you a lot of oil canvases that were made in the 16th, 17th, and 18th century. In halfway, close the sacristy room, is a very interesting painting. It was made at the end of 18th century. The artist was born as me in Cusco. His name is Marco Zapata. And he represents the Last Supper. The Last Supper, the original, is the place where they come from in Milan. It's the Last Supper that was made by Leonardo da Vinci. But it's very interesting because my colleague will show you the Last Supper in Cusco, that was made by local artists, and in the middle of the table, as a main course, 50% of this color they said is the guinea pig, and the other 50% of this color they said that is that animal. And we have to tell you, we apologize because we know that sometimes are pets for you, but you have to understand this part of our culture. Hiram Bingen found 2 mummies, and they buried that animal because they believe in the life after death. They represent food. That's really interesting to talk about that one. Over here.
Edison.
Come un oliante il campo.
Non ci sono
Non lo so. Magari, perché oliante il campo che hanno costruito si chiama la colla. Non hanno fatto questo. E non so perché non l'hanno fatto. Io non lo so. Sì. Tutto benissimo.
Benissimo.
Go to 6.
alto todavía el
Muy alto.
Part of the drainage system in the water system. From the upper part, there are some fountains. They are 15 or 14. And when we were in the upper part, I show you the main aqueduct. At any time of the year, the water is running. That's the reason why the Incas decided to build this temple, sacred site of pilgrimage place because they understood that what it means like. What about the fountains here? According to scholars, they presume that the nobility were here, and the speech was, "Thanks to you, we can improve our living conditions," because they use it for botanical gardens, for washing their clothes, for cooking, etc., etc. And then goes, if you see, there are more. There are 16 fountains to each other, and also was part of the drainage system because I told you summertime was really tough here. And at the same time, here I show you probably 70 or 80% is original and well preserved. Something that is really interesting. You travel a lot. When we are talking about the China Wall, Petra in Jordania, Rome, etc., etc., in Asia, in India, in Europe, they built and they used the horses, the mules, they used donkeys, elephants, a lot of animals. But what about in Peru and in Mexico? Every time that you are going to see the heritage, only is 100% handmade. They didn't use in animals. Because before the Spanish arrived, there were only llamas, alpacas, vicuñas, and guanacos. We imported the horses, the mules, donkeys from Europe. Every time that you are going to visit us, Chichen Itza, Sacsayhuamán, Machu Picchu is 100% handmade. The strong guys is smart and clever, and at the same time ingenious. Over here, please. Little by little.
Oh.
Interesting as part of the podcast. Some local people, especially from the Andes, who were born as me, every time that I visit Machu Picchu, the idea is to come with coca leaves. Coca leaves that were, are, and will be essential for Andean society. In Cusco, well, if you are going to visit the main food market, San Pedro, and also in Pisac, a lot of ladies, they will follow you. Coca leaves, coca leaves. I mean, it's legal to buy for sale the coca leaves for the rituals, for ceremonies. In Cusco, there are two neighborhoods where they powder the coca leaves, and you can try some cakes, some chocolates, because when we are talking about coca leaves, they're very healthy, high in proteins, etc., etc. Of course, we have a serious problem because with these coca leaves, they process the cocaine. But coca leaves are green, cocaine is white. It's completely different because they process with chemical elements. With
Just like
acids.
processed sugar.
Yeah, that's right. It's completely different. It's the same as the grapes when you brew the pisco sour or the wine. But for us, you see, it's a good example. Coca leaves are and will be essential in Andean society. Yeah, the same flower and plant also. The angel trumpet flower, trumpet tree. And we have white, orange color also. a replica recreation. The idea is to show you what kind of materials and how they made the thatched roof during ancient times. Well, like this. Here's straw, some sticks, with some branches from the indigenous trees. But again, there are only 4 or 5 or 6 houses, no more here. It's a replica recreation. Because currently we have details that they cook the clay, but it was the shape, and still there are several places in Cusco, in the Andes close to the snow-capped mountains, that they have the same shape, how they cover the roofs. But when I don't bring a rest, you can't the houses. And finally, let me tell you, from the bottom of our heart, thank you very much for attention. Class is over. We made it. I am proud of you. Grazie mille.
Grazie a te.
Grazie a te.
Sei bravissimo.
Certo. È vero. Well, also here, look at this. You know, you have a home they call the Bird of Paradise.
Questi sì.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Some
Guarda che
butterfly.
belli.
Also, lots around here and in the Amazon, huge. Called the elephant ear.
I had these in
Elephant
California.
ear. Also,
Uh-huh.
and also you have
And banana
huge
trees. Mm-hmm.
Oh my
Elephant ears.
elephant ear.
Mm-hmm.
Not combination with huge.
Questo è il nostro mentore. Questo è il nostro cicerone.
Oh, wow.
Vado a prendere il mio posto. Grazie.
Prego. No,
No?
questo è
Oh,
so, sì. No.
no, around.
Di là, sopra. Andare giù. Ci vediamo all'albergo, Luca, per l'ora del tè. Dove la regina?
Just taking pictures.
Ah, yes.
야, 우리 원래 2개밖에 안 돼. 2개를 만들었으니까 그렇지.
Per la roba.
Grazie.
Prego. And how many days you are going to spend in Cusco? 2 or 3 days, George?
I was there yesterday,
Good.
and then I'm gonna go back on Friday and Saturday. I'll be there.
I see.
So, the Incan Museum is
It's
definitely
good.
one to hit.
Yeah,
Okay.
you should. It's excellent because you will understand how they made it. You
Perfect.
made it? Okay. I can help you? Sure. Per l'albergo principale dell'ora del tè.
Ah, there he is.